how much income you really need to buy a house in Las Vegas in 2024. So you're looking to buy a house right now, but don't know where to start. Not anymore, because today I'm going to show you what you really need to know before searching on real estate websites such as Zillow or Redfin. I'm going to be covering how much income it takes to buy a typical house in every price point based on today's interest rate and today's housing market here in Las Vegas. But please keep in mind, any figures you see here are not the final quotes. They're based on a few factors: property location, property value, how much you put down, the interest rate, taxes, and insurance. Each property has different HOA fees. Also, you have to think about any other monthly payments other than housing expense. But at least I want to be able to give you the basics of the math so you can be prepared before calling up your real estate agent. Hey, real estate agent, this is how much I can afford, and this is the area that I like to live. Can you find me a house that matches that criteria? Before getting into it, I want to make sure you do not want to buy more than you can afford. Just because your lender qualifies you for a certain amount of mortgage, that doesn't mean that you should. As a professional mortgage lender, homeowner, and investor myself, I'll go over numbers. Here are the assumptions that are being used. Long term, 30 years. Fixed interest rate, meaning the interest rate stays the same for the entire 30-year term of the loan. Property tax, we're using 0.6% of the home value. That's the average property tax in Nevada. Homeowners insurance, we're using 0.3% of the home value. We're using $80 a month for homeowners association fee. In Nevada, HOA fees could range anywhere from $50 to $300 a month. Sometimes even more depending on the community. Typically, condos HOA fees are the highest. It's because in condominium complexes, there are more shared amenities such as pools, gyms, elevators, landscaping, and common areas like hallways. Now let's move on to down payment. I'm using a 7% of the home value as a national average. Mortgage insurance, we're using 0.5% of the loan amount. To reiterate, total monthly housing expense, here we're talking about principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA fees.
Let's say you were to buy a $450,000 home. Most lenders focus on not only your housing-related expenses, but also all other minimum required monthly debt payments, such as auto loans, credit cards, or student loans. It's called Back-end Debt-to-Income Ratio, or DTI. DTI is a percentage that tells lenders how much money you spend on monthly debt payments versus how much before-tax monthly income you have. The max DTI varies depending on the type of loan, a credit score, or amount of cash reserve. In this example, I'm using a 45% DTI, and you don't have other payments besides housing expenses. A $450,000 home, on average, your monthly payment is going to be around $3,231. So we take that $3,231 divided by 0.45, that gives us $7,180. Then you take that $7,180 times 12. So you're looking at a gross annual income of $86,160. Now let's do one more. If you want a $550,000 home, your estimated total monthly housing expense is $3,856. So take that $3,856 divided by 0.45, that gives us $8,569 times 12. So you need to make roughly $102,827 a year before taxes. Next, I want to demonstrate how the number would change if you had some other monthly debt. Let's say you and your spouse have a total of $700 a month for auto loans and $300 credit card payments. And now you want a $550,000 home. Earlier, I showed you the total monthly housing expense to be $3,856. So you need to add $1,000 to your housing expenses. That comes up to $4,856. Take that 4,856 divided by 0.45 comes up to 10,791 times 12. So now you're looking at a 129,493 annual gross income. Comparing it with 102,827 that I showed you earlier, you're going to have more income than someone who has no other debt to buy the same exact house. This is what's called purchasing power.
So when you're finding out how much of a house you can afford really comes down to your income, other debt, your credit score, how much to put down, or your financial status. That's why they don't have a one-size-fits-all mortgage. You're probably thinking, okay, then show me how to afford more. One of the popular strategies is to make a larger down payment. Please remember that it's not a requirement to put 20% down. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. But when I say that, my parents get anxious because that's what they told to do back then. If your pre-tax income is not enough to cover your total monthly debt with a certain down payment amount, then you need to increase your down payment to give you more purchasing power, or simply look for a less expensive house. How to decide it? Your lender should guide you through based on your financial situation. Let's face it, increasing your income overnight is not realistic. Of course, you're going to have to pay the mortgage insurance if making less than 20% down. But here's the thing. You're not required to pay it forever. Making regular mortgage payments reduces your loan balance and builds equity in your home. When your mortgage balance drops to 78% of the home's original value or 22% equity, PMI is automatically canceled by your lender. Alternatively, you can request PMI removal when you reach 80% equity. A lot of people don't know about this, but if you don't have any, or you only have a small amount of other monthly debt, and of course, if you have a good credit score, you may be able to borrow up to 45%, 48% of your gross monthly income. But once again, I cannot stress enough that you don't have to borrow the maximum loan amount that your lender qualifies you for. Although increasing your income immediately when you look for a house to buy is not realistic, but here's something you can do right away. Increase your credit score as soon as you decide to get you pre-approved for a mortgage loan, because that's going to save you a lot of money on monthly payments. For a loan amount of $372,000, someone with a 630 credit score, principal and interest payment is $2,752 a month, as compared to someone with a 760 credit score. The payment is $2,345 a month, paying about $147,000 less in interest for the life of the loan. I made a video about how a bad credit score affects you and costs you more when borrowing money. That teaches you one of the crucial things that you can do to fix your credit. So check out that video if you're interested. In that video, I talk about credit report related topic that so many people don't know about. Another tip that you can control is to shop around for lower homeowners insurance. Let me share an easy way to lower your overall monthly payment. First things first, I would ask your insurance provider about any discounts. If you have the following features such as fire alarms, security system, bundling car insurance, or other policies, and please review your coverage to make sure that you're not overpaying, for something that you don't need, and also see what the price difference would be if you raise your deductible. Another tip that I want to share with you is negotiate a price reduction or buy down the interest rate. Each 1% of your loan amount after down payment can lower the interest rate by 0.25%. So if you're getting $300,000 loan, $3,000 can lower your interest rate. Let's say if it's a 7% right now, it'll be 6.75%. Buying a house in 2024 or 2025, no matter what housing market you're in, it's always good to be prepared. Comment, estimate, or reach out to me. You can find my contact information in the description box if you want to find out what your future mortgage payment is going to look like. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming videos. See you then.